An accident on 285 involving a school bus sending children to the hospital. Who's at fault here?
A young couple and their 3 children lose everything they've worked for in a raging house fire. Tonight, we're back at the scene with the family to hear the story of how they survived.
Showers, storms today, even some of those prompting tornado warnings. We're still tracking some showers tonight with the threat of flooding in some spots.
We find the defendant guilty of felony murder.
You heard it breaking on 11alive.com. Tex McIver guilty of felony murder. Just hours ago, McIver was rebooked into the Fulton County Jail. He's now facing life in prison for fatally shooting his wife, Diane. After almost a week of deliberations today, jurors found McIver guilty of 4 counts, including felony murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Caitlin Ross was in the courtroom as the verdict was read.
Guilty of felony murder.
Tex McIver looked stunned as the verdict was read, guilty on 4 of the 5 counts against him, including felony murder. Just an hour and a half before the verdict was read, the jurors told the judge they were deadlocked, unable to reach a verdict on those 4 counts. But after the judge read the jury the Allen charge, they went back to the jury room and made their decision. In a news conference after the verdict was read, those closest to Diane say this is justice.
With the jurors' verdict today, I believe that they have expressed to us that they unanimously have concluded that the defendant intended to shoot his wife, thereby causing her death.
Shocking. That's one word we're hearing over and over to describe this verdict, but that's not all people are saying. 11 Alive's Andy Parati spoke to the defense team, jurors, and friends of the victim.
Mr. Hardy.
The legal team, who spent weeks defending Tex McIver in court, now clearly uninterested in sharing their thoughts on the outcome. Do you have any reaction to the verdict, sir?
No, not right now.
Defense attorney Don Samuel says he plans to appeal. Did you have any idea where this was going to go?
I'm not in the deliberation room. There's no way for me to know.
2 jurors say they did not take the decision lightly.
And we finally decided, guys, a gun just doesn't go off. For me, there was a small part of me that said there was something to benefit if she was not alive. Again, we could not use motive as our justification for finding guilt or innocence, but it did play a part for us.
Juror 61, Lakeisha Boyd, says she thinks the district attorney's office could have presented a better case.
There was a lot of things that the state did not present to us, to where as though we had to read in between the lines and fill in what they did not give. And trust me and believe me, I, 61, chewed the hell out of the state because they did not give us really any evidence to go by to present malice or murder.
Diane McIver's former boss and friend Bill Corey says today's verdict brings Diane justice, and he commended the district attorney.
And may Diane rest in peace. They stood up for Diane today.
But was today's verdict really justice for Diane? Christy Etheridge worked with our news desk to find a neighbor in Buckhead who believes the jurors were forced to make a rash decision and says this is not what Diane would have wanted. Christy, why does this man think that the jury got it wrong?
Well, Vinny, we caught up with that neighbor, and he says this verdict was a complete mistake. Was Tex reckless? Definitely. Careless? Absolutely. But not a murderer.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I just like someone hit me in the stomach when I heard it. I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it, you know.
6 hours after the verdict, Dennis Durkin is still in shock.
Yeah, I don't think he murdered her. I think it was a terrible, terrible accident. I really do. How would he know what was going to happen? You're going to shoot through a seat and hope you hit the right organs, you know? That's not murder.
The jury disagreed, but Durkin says he knew them better. He lives in the same building as the McIvers, has known them for decades, remembers when they moved in and saw them almost every day.
It just makes me sick about the whole thing. They were just so nice, you know, and I'd see them all the time. They always talk to me.
He says the couple was clearly in love, and now with Diane dead and Tex likely headed to jail for life, their whole Buckhead apartment building is mourning. Durkin remembers his last conversation with Tex just before the trial started.
You know what he said to me? He says, there isn't anything they could do to me that is worse than the hell I'm going through, knowing the person I love, my soulmate, that I'm responsible for her death. He said for the rest of my life that you know, there isn't anything more cruel than that.
Durkin says he wrote to Tex in jail the first time, and he plans to visit Tex in jail to make sure he still knows there are people who care about him. Vinny.
All right, thanks so much, Christy. Appreciate it. Social media also reacted tonight, and one of the most asked questions is about the difference between malice and felony murder. We break that down, plus more on the who's who of this case on 11alive.com. And later.
I was able to speak with Danny Jo. She's so sweet and kind, and she said she was happy to be there for her friend.
Stunned reactions from my legal dream team coming up in about 7 minutes. We're digging deeper into why jurors returned those guilty verdicts and what that means moving forward. Chaos in Canada. A man steers his van onto a sidewalk filled with people.
He's just hitting people one by one, going down. Oh man, it's a nightmare.
10 people are dead, more than a dozen others hurt. Toronto police say the driver was arrested at the scene. He's a 25-year-old from that area. Witnesses say the driver appeared to be moving deliberately through the crowd at more than 30 miles an hour. According to an NBC News, investigators are blaming mental illness, not terrorism. And another big story, Ron, that Waffle House shooting just outside of Nashville.
Yeah, that's right, Vinny. And we just learned the alleged gunman is now being held on $2 million bond. Police say 29-year-old Travis Reinking killed 4 people when he opened fire early Sunday morning with an AR-15 rifle. Reinking was arrested this afternoon in Antioch, Tennessee, and later appeared in jail via video for a court hearing. Okay. Now he's going to be back in court on Wednesday. He's accused of storming the restaurant naked except for a green jacket and opening up fire. And this just in here, folks, he apparently complained to police back in 2017 that pop star Taylor Swift was stalking him. And we have a new update coming into the newsroom tonight on the health of former President George H.W. Bush. A family spokesperson says Bush is responding to treatments and appears to be recovering from a blood infection. The former president was admitted to the hospital on Sunday, just one day after attending the funeral of his wife, Barbara. Passengers flying out of Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport today may have been caught in the continued fallout from an engine explosion on Southwest, a plane there last week. Southwest announcing they were canceling dozens of flights as it stepped up emergency engine inspections on its Boeing 737 fleet. At least 7 Southwest flights were canceled out of Hartsfield-Jackson today. All 7 of those planes were Boeing 737s, but at this point, it's unclear if cancellations were specifically because of those inspections. And another story we want to talk about right now, and that is 19 terrified middle schoolers on 285 in DeKalb County after a tractor trailer rams their school bus. So we wanted to know, who's at fault here?
Emergency crews rushed to the scene of a school bus with middle schoolers on board, hit by a tractor trailer in DeKalb.
Yes, it was one girl. She had to be taken out the bus into the paramedics.
As it's being towed away, 19 children were on board this bus. 8 were injured. Investigators say the kids from Champion Theme Middle School in Stone Mountain were heading south on Interstate 285 near Glenwood Road when traffic came to a stop, but apparently a tractor trailer did not.
The bus stopped, and evidently the truck was going too fast and he could not stop, and he hit the back of the bus.
Several children injured.
Head injuries, back, neck. A couple of them hit their heads on the seats of the bus.
It sounds bad.
And one young lady hit her head on the window.
But paramedics say it's all minor injuries. Parents are grateful the school reached out to them immediately.
And I think the school, for keeping us informed as far as, communication-wise.
And the good news here, no kids were admitted to the hospital. By the way, DeKalb County Police still investigating this thing. However, school officials believe that weather conditions and speed are factors here.
It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Ron. A family thankful to make it out alive after their home goes up in flames. Tonight, they're talking only to the late feed about their narrow escape.
We continue to track some showers and even thunderstorms still lingering tonight. We'll let you know when this system will move away and when we dry out.
A royal welcome for the latest Little Prince.
Thank you, Vinny, and everyone in Atlanta. Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Robert Smigel, my guest tonight. Plus, we have talk, music from Sting and Shaggy. It's a great show. Do not change the channel. It's good.